Okay, test. Beautiful. Hey, are we ready? Azandar, welcome to the stream, brother. Good to have you here. We'll check out SPX straight away for you. Hope you're still here while I was away. Looks good for shorts on the daily. Let's check it out, man. I'm here, bro. Good to see. Good to see. Um. So first thing that is just flashing my eye, because what I always do is I just look at the chart before I straight away just start drawing things in. Um, what catches my eye is that this was a previous all-time. Well, let's actually check if all the charts have more price information. No, Binance fine. Okay. So, what we did here, we got an aggressive dump just before we hit all-time high here, which indicates a lot of selling power here, and also indicating a lot of stop losses are gonna be gathered above that high. Well, we took it out, and we actually made a distribution on the high as well. You know, these three tap models I always talk about, we had that at the extreme high. So market makers were definitely stepping in here to push price lower, and they also have done so. So we need to follow our structure from there. This is an important supply. Why is that? Well, that is because this tried to bring you towards new highs because you were still up, but it failed doing so, indicating sellers stepping in here to push the price lower, making a change of character. So from there, our order flow has changed and we can expect lower highs and lower lows to continue from there. Well, we have done that beautifully. My mouse is doing a little bit weird. Turn it on and off for a second. And you can see we kept on creating those lower lows, lower highs, and lower lows. This is basically one big consolidation. I want to check if this is your range to draw, and we can see this as a deviation. It's arguable because this has closed above. No, I wouldn't say so. Okay. But what is really important to keep in mind is if we look at a higher time frame, we can see our uptrend is still up. And that is because this low brought you all the way up to new highs. So hold this low and we can expect higher. We have wicked it. That's just a liquidity hunt. It's not a break of structure or anything in that direction. What is below here? Nothing too that significant. Okay. And we have to keep following our structure because we did take out significant liquidity. Our trend here is still up. And after that liquidity hunt, we actually also made first of all, a change of character on the lower time frame. This brought you to new lows. You broke it, indicating that your trend has switched from bearish to bullish. But on the daily time frame, it is going to be this high right here. And I do think we have broken it now because we have a good candle opening and closing above. Untested. And this is just a bunch of liquidity sitting above that high, right? So it's obvious that you get that pop up. For possible longs, I would be looking at this pullback. This is where all our strength came from on SPX. Because liquidity hunt, possible order filling, right? And then the big expansion up. So would definitely be valid if price comes back here. Also in combination with this old low to the left. And you could create something like this. Would be a beautiful higher time frame bottom. And let's just keep zooming in. Because I can see where your shorts are coming from here. Yeah, pretty much all I have to analyze now is this little local part. Let's check. Okay. So, yeah, we did have the distribution at the highs here. But what I find so weird about this distribution is that this third tap didn't reach our supply that we have drawn in. So, we could say we have another reason to come higher, right? We have our distribution, we have our big expansion down. This tried to bring you up to new highs, failed doing so. Being here, you can definitely expect resistance here, or this trend to continue with a lower high for a lower low. What areas would I be watching? Of course, this is your supply and you actually have wicked it. So I want to draw on my ultimate liquidity points. This coin moves aggressive, Azan. And this will be our extreme supply. So what would be perfect for me to look for shorts is that we are going to go up a little bit, take out that liquidity or tap in that supply, and then leave this high open and show something like that. It's crazy. I probably shouldn't trade on it. One-way ticket to wreck down. Well, anything is tradable, right? But you just have to have a good stop loss and proper risk management, and nothing can happen, my friend. If you just risk 1 to 2% per trade with a stop loss in the chart, then you're absolutely fine. Then there's nothing to be afraid, I wouldn't call it. Nothing to be scared of with these big moves. Because these big moves can move you into profit as well, right? But could be the case because this was a swing high that this was enough liquidity to return lower. So this could be the top in already. What would I be looking at? I do like this. So this definitely could have been enough liquidity to keep on moving down. So this would be a short POI. I am on the really low time frame at the moment. I will look at this locally just because we have reasons to go higher, right? If this formed all the way over here, this would have been a preset for me. But that's not the case. So we still have reason to go higher. Let's see if we can do something like this. Or we can come up here and see a local short form. It would definitely not be bad because of the pool that we took out here. But for the rest, yeah, it's a lot of expansion in this coin, but it is all right. So that's what I would be looking at, my friend. Liquidity hunt, grab liquidity on one side and is moved towards the other side. We have done that. We are in resistance here, so let's keep an eye on it. I wanted to make this a little bit of a quick stream, so quickly go through the chart request. I do not wanna stay still too long on certain concepts because I do not want this to be a much of an educational stream. I just want to analyze here and draw in my own point of interest for trades. Okay. So if there are any questions or chart requests, you can always put them in the chat, and then we'll see from there. Okay, check hype. Do you think it can go to 40? Let me check it after I've done Sui here. Nice. Short point of interest. Why is that? Because we had a distribution here, market makers filling up sell orders, then the continuation down. This brought you to new highs. Change of character, order flow has switched. We can now expect lower highs for new lower lows. And we do have a demand here, so I think we can trade towards that area. And from there we could look for longs again. Quickly zoom in locally. It's a little bit of a mess. The problem is these are not great break-off structures. When you pop above it, straight away reject back inside. I mean, then all of this old liquidity is going to become resistant. You wanted that to be used as support to continue to trade higher. But when you go below it again, high chance it becomes resistance and we can continue down. Even though I don't think it's that bad of what happened here. This is our range. Technical target has been hit. So we could even start distributing from here. I would not think this is the cleanest to look for a direction. So I'm just gonna wait for my high time frames point of interest to take trades. Hype, check it out. I'm not sure what I've drawn here. Okay. Do you think it can go to 40? 100%. And I must say, this is our start of the impulse, so it is a really strong zone. We can clearly see it from the reaction we got as well. We did not tap the supply before going down. Interesting. Little manipulation. Yeah, we have created a valid daily low. So if we want to keep that bullish order flow up, we would have to hold 43.5. Because this is the pullback that brought you higher. You want to use it as support, because that's what you do in an uptrend. You protect lows and you break highs. Then you want to continue from here towards the supply, and then you could see rejection again. So this $40 is for now out of my head. But do we have certain reasons to go lower? Yeah, we do. Our last sell then we held here, and our quick buy, we never tested that sell to buyback. So even though this is our daily structure to hold, we can always still get a quick pop below it, create a wick on the daily time frame, and then continue from there. Great scenario. It would also stop out a lot of people with that. It's beautiful. Okay. For now, we are still moving down though, so the scenario just sketched in would actually be an interesting one. That's a scenario where I would be looking for longs, and I think there could be a short upcoming on hype here. And why is that? Because of the way you're building up. Where is the manipulation that people are trying to fill up orders to push the price up? There is none. So meaning this is not sustainable to me. We're gonna leave this liquidity for later. We're gonna keep on taking liquidity from the highs until we have taken enough to then reverse towards everything on the lows, which is also expectational order flow. And I like what we've done here. We've hunted a lot of liquidity, and on the 50-minute we've also managed to make a change of character. So what does this mean? This means we have a high probability chance that we are going to make a lower high here and then continue for lower lows towards all of the liquidity that we have built, because we have reasons to believe we have now grabbed enough on the highs. The market is showing it has grabbed enough on the highs by making that order flow switch, And now we can expect a lower high, maybe trade towards this, which is also expectational order flow. A lot of confluences are aligning here. Where would you look for that? Short. Draw in this whole box. This is a great point of interest. And I'm actually gonna add this to my watch list for today, because this is just the trading scenario I am going to be watching today. Definitely looking for shorts there. And this would be the main target. Yeah, great chart request hype. And even though we are bullish on the higher time frame, right? If we can never break this internal trend, then we are going towards that $40 mark. Even though we still have good support here, which is really good support. But if we are just gonna continue like this, we are gonna go towards the $40 mark. But if you really want to be strong, this is what you would have to hold. Between 40 and a half and 43 basically. Then the market is gonna show, okay, with this move down, we have grabbed enough liquidity. We can start rotating towards highs again, or at least the supply. But hype is going to be on top of the watch list at the moment. Yeah. Alert. Let's see if we can take a trade on there today. What do you think of BNB? Pumping? No, let me check it. I do know the Chartsmith has made a video about BNB, so I would advise you to check that out. He has uploaded it today. It will be on his channel, but I can go through it really quickly. Only have to look at the local picture, of course. When we are seeing higher lows and lower highs being built up, we are in a compression. So we're building liquidity on both sides until we're gonna break out. Well, basically for me, there's only two reasons that I'm gonna be playing a play here. That is to either take out the bottom, so you want to stop out all of the masses, that have been longing at the lows, or you want to stop out all of the people that try to short here and then move towards the other side of the liquidity, because we are really bullish. I am expecting the upside scenario, of course, and it would also align with this demand below it really well. So if I'm gonna be honest, because of this demand is still open, this is a beautiful long scenario on BNB to just continue this trend towards all-time highs. What would your targets be? Of course, the range high, and after I would be looking at the $1,400, because in price discovery you have to use those round numbers, 1300, 1400, etc, etc. So that's what I think about BNB, and for the rest on the higher time frame, I'm gonna let send you through the charts with this video. But locally, this is all you need to know. And BNB for the rest, well, world's leading centralized exchange, right? So makes sense that it's gonna keep on pumping. More people are gonna get into crypto, more people are gonna use Binance. That's why it has always been a little bit, or a little bit. It's always been more bullish than other narratives. You know, in a chart like this, you have a lot of possibilities where you could look for a short, right? So you're gonna draw on multiple scenarios, and we will have to wait for price action to move up. And then in our one of our point of interest, even being here, or being here, we need to see that momentum switch, and then we can keep on trading down. I that alert set. Aster also looks really bullish. I'm not gonna go too much in depth about Aster because I think the Chartsmith will do that in his video. That's I think he told me he wanted to upload today about Aster. So I'm gonna let him do its thing there. But to look at it really quick, this could be a great point of interest to look for longs on Aster. And combined with these all lows makes always a great demand zone. XPL, I've recently uploaded a video about it. Well, recently, literally like an hour ago or something, maybe even earlier. So if you want to know everything about XPL, you should check that out. But don't panic when you see a chart like this. Our technical target was hit. You can expect to cool off like that. Have done a few market updates in the VRP. I'm gonna leave that for what it is. Oh yeah, AFAX. Remember when I told you on the Discord I was gonna 2 days in a row I was looking for shorts on AFAX? Well, we absolutely smashed pretty much all of the targets I gave through as well. It was beautiful. I mean, you could just see that price bending. We were building liquidity on the lows, taking it from the highs until we couldn't take any more from the highs, and we kept taking from the lows. It's just a simple switch in the market's direction. First, demand was in control, but then supply started to take over. From now we have hit a... I'm still on that Binance chart where we have that crazy way. We could definitely expect a little bit of upside on AFAX. But we'll have to see locally what is happening. Yeah, because we tested the demand, we gotta push up. We're now in our extreme demand. Our first demand created after this move up. So locally, yeah, and what we're doing here on AVAX is the same as on Hype. Look at how price is building up here. It looks not it doesn't look sustainable, so am expecting this to just get left open for later. Maybe we can start reject from here. But I wouldn't per se look at a short though, because we can expect a move up, but I wouldn't be longing here at the moment because I don't see any market maker stepping into the market. And you know, I'm all about that. I want to trade with the smart money. I want to trade with the big players. And if I don't see big players are stepping into the market or trying to, then I'm not putting my money on the trades. Already live for half an hour. It feels like I've just done a few charts, right? Time flies by when you're having fun, is what they say. Well, I can tell you if you're behind the charts almost all day, then time really flies by. Oh, it's dinner time. Oops, forgot. Let me quickly check NQ, boys. Because I have missed such a good short on NQ. Yeah, NQ is bearish until proven otherwise. I don't like the way we created this top. And especially on how we're rejecting right now. We traded below the low, luring in sellers, then taking them out. Also here creating liquidity, taking it out, and now we're just continuing the trend. So on NQ I would be bearish until it's proven otherwise. Also because this pullback brought us to completely new lows. Swing low is still open. So it's down until proven otherwise on NQ. But I missed an amazing trade here. I can understand NQ is a little bit different than well, I can understand. I know NQ is a lot different than crypto, and I also trade NQ a little differently. All right. Instead of we have SMTs. So I'm not gonna go into that too much because I know you're crypto guys. But this would have been your play. And we always look for entries in the macro. We call that 10 before our o'clock time and 10 after. That's when the machines go on. At least that's how we like to call it. When the machines go on, they're gonna print. And most of the time, within that time period, you're gonna see moves. Okay. So this is not interesting for me to look at NQ now. This macro is done. Nothing to see. Rawi, welcome to the stream, brother. Good to have you. How are you doing, man? Have you taken any trades yet today? How has today been going for you? In the meantime, I've done Sui. Go to Solana. Rach, are you more into crypto or stocks? Definitely more into crypto. Um, I've been trading crypto since the beginning, so it has always been there. But I'm also trading NASDAQ with funded accounts. It's nice to do it on the side. I mean, you're behind the charts already, but the strategy is just a little bit different. But I would say definitely more into crypto. Yeah. Not gonna lie, stocks are easier though. But let's not talk about easy in trading because it's not. You know, like I said, this stream just gonna analyze my things. I feel like removing Avantis from my list, but I will not do that yet. Just made a video about it. 2 last scenarios I'm gonna look at on Avantis, and then that's done for me. The volume doesn't rise quickly, because you have to understand if a project is just falling in volume. If less volumes come into a crypto coin, the interest of that coin is also disappearing, meaning it's not interested to trade, it becomes less volatile, etc, etc. Let's go check ADA. Haven't charted this one properly in a while. Should have. This is our range. With a deviation at the high indicating possible downward signals. Check out the daily time frame if we have touched all the requirements for a distribution. This would be our extreme liquidity. A first lower high before we started dumping. And this would be our extreme demand. You can draw it from this wick. It's a little bit of a wick supply here. Haven't talked about wick supply in any of my videos, but that's fine because it is here. It doesn't show that often, a wick supply. And yeah, we're supply chaining, right? This could have been the tap of your extreme supply, meaning this could signal us down while we have this 3 tap at the highs, and this could indicate that we're gonna go towards this range low on ADA, and we can look for longs there. But this demand was open. And the meaning of a distribution is just to grab liquidity, of course. And it could have been that this is enough liquidity to move up, right? We don't know unless price action shows us. And for in order to keep expecting that upside, we would need to demand chain. This brought us up to new highs. That's what we want. That's what we want to hold for in order to continue the trend towards new highs. My YouTube is doing really weird. Excuse me for that. Just a few things with the title going wrong and changing. So weird. Okay. So we have multiple options. We can see supply and demand is flowing in each other a little bit, right? Over here and demand over here. And there's gonna come a point in this chart where the one needs to take over from the other, and that's when we will see the expansion. There is still an option that we could trade higher from here all the way towards that extreme liquidity and then still dump down. So I do need to draw that in. And oops. Right now we are just in long areas, but local price action will have to tell us if we can long. So let's check. 1 hour structure that brought you to new lows. I'm expecting us to reject it because it's expectational order flow and continue down. Even though we are in demand, we don't have to long because price action is not showing us the long yet. And the same with every other coin. This does not look sustainable to me. If you can change character, then we're just gonna go make new lows and then we can try again. So the market works. Quickly check hype. No alert has been going off yet. Is it really gonna test aggressive here? I don't hope so, because I still want to short this. Reaction we're getting from is from this. Maybe if we flip it, we can look for shorts here, but I would be a fan to test the supply and then go down. But we are getting a really aggressive dump after we took out all that liquidity, so we don't have to come back there. Quickly check a few of these pairs I've drawn in. Nothing interesting at the moment. This is something I do have to draw in. No, what I'm just doing right now, I'm just trading live. This is how I search for my trades. If you look at everything you've drawn in, come back in a while at it, or at least after 10-15 minutes, check how the chart is doing, anything new, then you update the charts with your drawings, and then continue from there. So let's see if this actually is going to be a deviation of the market on XPL. If it is, I would like to see us do this. This is what we're against at the moment, the supply, and also in combination with all of these old lows. We need to leave open our low and do something like this. Then we could expect continuation up. But this is also the first deviation and there can be a second one. So you either do this, test your extreme demand right there, or you come up, create liquidity, take out the low one more time and then get the expansion up. You know how it works with range trading. I'm gonna do link, injective, CAS, ENA, etc, etc. ADA I've done. Then I'm gonna end the stream. So you can also put your chart request between these that I'm gonna do. And then let's see what happens. Link held the $20 marks. Beautiful. Nothing but strength to see here, even though this, you can argue this isn't that convincing. Um, I don't care about that at the moment, because what we are holding is a crazy support and resistance, and locally we're still moving up. We cannot be scared about this possible distribution if locally we're still pointing up, right? And everything what we did here just looks like it's made for upside, so I'm bullish on Link. And if we can hold the $15, then there's nothing left but go here. Especially with the way we're coming down, building beautiful liquidity. We want to continue that until we have taken enough on the lows. Then we can expect that reversal and follow the structure that we have made. Preferably, I would like to hold the $20 mark, because that is part of the support and resistance that we have drawn in. Beautiful area, beautiful chart link. Let's check locally. Why don't you use OB? You mean order block? Because an order block is the same as me as demand and supply. This is an order block for me. This is an order block for me. An order block is basically a bit of price action, a pullback or some sort of, that you identify, okay, seller stepped into the market here, so this becomes an order block. For example, we were still bearish at the moment, but sellers tried to push us down, but clearly buyers stepped in, push price up. So this is an order block, and I would call it a demand, because demand and supply are order blocks, but then with a name to it, one being sellers, one being buyers. This is also an order block. You have to order, you have literally order blocks everywhere, just like demand and supply. Um, Designated a little differently. It is possible to more. It is definitely possible that you can get more accurate demands with that. That's why I call that the refined demand. For example, this whole pullback brought us up to new highs, right? So this would be my structured demand. And for order block saying, this is inside our pullback before we pushed up. So that would be my order block. It's the same as supply and demand, my friend. It's just how you draw your supply and demand. Because you can draw your demand like that. You can draw your demand like this. You can even fine tune your demand all the way till here. So that's three overlapping each other, but you do get a refined result in the end. So what you're saying is absolutely right. You can accurately define the POI. That is true. But what we can also clearly see, well, did we react from this? We did, okay. But this is just a high time frame zone for me. And I'm still gonna look locally at price action if we see that change of character. If we're, for example, not in this order block, your predefined demand right here, but price is right here, and you're gonna switch trends. Price doesn't need to hit that order block for me, because you are in your bigger swing demand. Hope that makes it clear for you, Rach. Good question though. thing of these consolidations. Normally, I like that the market is consolidating, but at the moment, a lot of the alts don't look that convincing for the consolidation that I want to see. So, staying off that for now. Yeah, I think I will just continue here. Well, let's see if we can. See if we can break this, then come back, and this would be your refind, your last pullback before losing your level. So we need to mark it on different time frames. It is 100% that you need to look at different time frames for supply and demand as well, because you can look more in depth in that situation, in that order block, in that demand block, on exactly what happened there. And if you are new, it is going to be really hard. If you are new to trading and demand to supply, then it is going to be really hard. And I wouldn't advise you to do that straight away. But you basically have, I've also made a free lesson about this in the Discord. You basically have two sort of demands, okay? And also with supplies. One is your bigger demand, so the big pullback that brought you up to new highs, and the one is your refined one. So this is the last pullback before you broke structure. And to answer your question, yes. Because if I looked at the 15 minutes, I wouldn't see this 1 minute structure. Now we're already testing it back and we could reject from here, but I'm not interested in shorts because I'm still looking at this. We could easily create some liquidity here, go towards our POI and reject from there. So you can watch the supply and demand video, my friend. I've done some visual examples with that as well of supply and demand. I think it's a great video to watch, also with your questions that you're asking. They're not answered fully yet, then you can check that out. Market is a little bit untradable at the moment. Okay. Start keeping an eye on XPL. How's the volume here? It's okay. But we could definitely have signals when we start to gain here that we need a little bit of liquidity from the highs. So we could have a scalp opportunity towards a little bit of this liquidity that we have built. Yeah. Gonna keep an eye on that. Hype, of course. Peak, another one. Great high time frame short scenario. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today's live stream. Hasn't been a really interactive one because we're missing a lot of people. But that's fine. We've still done our things. We've analyzed our charts, and we've answered some great questions from you, Rach. So I want to thank you. I'm gonna look at XPL in the meantime to see what's going on there. Keep my eyes on hype and all the things I've charted here for possible trades. This is not convincing, right? Just a liquidity hunt, no reason to look for upside. I think many people work, so do I. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, a lot of people work at the moment. Well, this is work for me, so no. But thank you for being here, Rach. You asked some great questions, and I guess I will see you all in the next stream and into the Discord as well. If you still have any chart requests, questions unanswered, feel free to ask them in the Discord. I'm online today, and I'll be looking at everything. All right. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.